Welcome to my party.
She is coming not from a place of, oh, I gotta be zany, I'm your manic pixie. Like she doesn't need to be the manic pixie anymore. She is kind of gotten to a point where she knows who she is. She has a very clear sense of what her identity is, and she's going to present herself in this much stronger, kind of developed supervillain way.
哥谭骑士中哈利奎因的设计是一项非常有趣的漫画改编人物案例，他的样貌、他的声音以及他的邪恶，想必能得到漫画粉丝的认可。不过他的故事驱使他前进的原因，则与漫画有很大出入。整个开发流程中，这种理念一直指引蒙特利尔工作室设计各种反派角色。
All of the villains that we've included in Gotham Knights were chosen for a few reasons. One, we knew we wanted recognizable members of the Rogues Gallery, but we also wanted specific villains who had an interesting relationship with Batman, where once you took Batman out of the picture, it would cause that character to question, well, what's my function now? Like in a world where I don't have my main nemesis, what do I do next?
至少对于极动人来说，蝙蝠侠的缺席驱使着他犯下更残暴的罪行，而哈利奎因背后的故事则更个性，也更有趣。制作组勾勒出了一个远比之前任何游戏都更老成、更智慧的哈利，他已经不再受其他人控制。
We really did make a conscious choice of allowing her to be a slightly older version of Harley Quinn than we've seen elsewhere. That informed a lot of choices. It informed like a bunch of the performance choices that were made in shooting cinematics. It informed her fighting style. It informed how she presents herself, how she costumes herself, as we'll see in some of the middle chapters of the Harley Quinn arc, even how she presents herself to Gotham City.
Oh, boys!
最关键的是，这个哈利与先前的形象并非毫无联系，只不过是在之前的时间线上进一步发展。这个哈利已经经历了漫画里2个主要剧情。
We are familiar with her as like the Joker's accomplice and girlfriend and kind of pathological love interest. And we're familiar with her breaking free from that and finding herself kind of in her Suicide Squad era, where she's kind of Sammy being coerced into doing the right thing or doing terrible things for good reasons, sort of anti-hero. And this is kind of coincides with the fact that she's such a fan favorite. People love this character that they kind of want to root for her. So they kind of want to see her doing things that at least ultimately have a positive outcome, even if she does it in an insane and chaotic way. For us, we thought, well, that idea of Harley kind of branching into the direction of good, that's been pretty well explored in a lot of places. So we thought, well, what happens if we take her the other way? What happens if Batman's absence and the kind of rise of his successors kind of inspires Harley to say, well, why don't I finally get to have my career as a supervillain? On my own. I have all sorts of ideas. I'm a brilliant psychiatrist. Like, there's all sorts of crazy things that I can do, especially in Gotham City.
事实上，本作中哈利奎因的超级能力就是他的自我价值实现。被他人的阴影笼罩了好几年后，真正的哈利终于被释放出来。对于美术团队来说，设计这个时期的哈利是一项无比有趣的工作。本视频将展示美术设计组设计哈利形象的过程。
I don't even know if it's about physically aging her up. It's more like just a mental, like a confidence that maybe she didn't have before. I mean, on the visual side, it was cool because this is we got to do a fresh take.
一开始，制作团队只在之前的作品基础上进行改良，一样的发型、服饰，甚至让当地的帮派与他建立联系，最终与他联盟。联合角色美术设计总监 Jenny Wu 表示，在被告知更改设计理念时，哈利奎因的设计已经进行了一大半。
The criteria we were giving was to make her really fresh, new, and iconic. That was one of those key words I remember from going through that process. It was very challenging, but also it was such an exciting opportunity for us to go about this character, because not often we can deviate that much from her iconic haircut and all that. And we were pretty much given, don't do that. We want something new.
于是，美术团队参考了哈利先前的经历，以全新方式展现出来。哈利的 BOSS 战服装采用了红黑设计，增添钻石点缀，源自于蝙蝠侠系列中他初次登场的服装。在此之上进一步改良，钻石点缀凸显他的个性，他的发型和妆容也与之前不同，甚至他的锤子也膨胀了数倍。
Now, let's play.
这种设计在我们熟悉的哈利与未知的哈利之间达到了一种动态平衡，这在战斗方面也有所体现。
We had a very specific vision in mind for Harley. She's more herself than she's ever been in her imagination in our Gotham. She has taken this opportunity to say, I am actually a bad person. This is the version of myself that I want to be. I want the freedom to do whatever I want to Gotham and in Gotham. When we got into designing her combat, we loved the old, I have a big goofy hammer, but if you take that into the Gotham Knights aesthetic, it becomes a actual giant heavy block of metal that later in the boss fight has a lot of articulated sparking electrical equipment attached to it to make it worse.
哈利并不会直接与玩家进行格斗，他会在哥谭小混混的心中植入邪恶的种子，让他们无所畏惧，随心所欲。而最终，在玩家尝试阻止哈利时，他们就会疯狂地攻击玩家。
Her moveset is really about moving through this crowd of enemies that she attracts because she has all these devotees to just essentially to slow you down and distract you. And she constantly keeps that hammer in motion, and she's very strong, she's very powerful, she's extremely agile, and it's always about the player or players trying to get the opportunity to interrupt something Harley is doing and deal damage to her before that big hammer comes back upon you.
与任何游戏的 BOSS 一样，玩家将在哈利奎因这里第一次受挫，这是为了增加故事的曲折性。不过制作组将哈利奎因的失败处理得非常棒，虽然失败，但这个角色仍然会被铭记。而经此一役，几个哥谭骑士自己将会进行深刻反思，快速成长，并最终领导超级英雄。哈利作为超级恶人，也经历了类似的事件。小丑一直是蝙蝠侠的对立面，而似乎哈利奎因将成为新兴哥谭骑士的对手。哈利自己也有足够的理由。
Hell, if they want to be the new protectors of Gotham City, well, they're going to need a villain. They're going to need a nemesis, and who better to do it than me? I understand how the game is played.